created love. You had to make a way out of nowhere. No way, no way. He will forever make a way out of no way. No way.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of He Said, She Said. I am Melanie Smith, and
I am Steve Smith.
we are your hosts. Today we have with us our special guests. We have Tavantae and we have Jasmin. Tavantae Trundle and Jasmin Thomas, excuse me. Jasmin is my cousin, actually my first cousin. But today we wanted to just change it up a little bit. We've been talking to mainly married couples because, of course, we're doing he said, she said. So we like a little bit of diversity with conversation so we can see what women say versus what men say on certain subjects and topics. But today we want to switch it up a little bit because this couple is not married. They are dating. This is a millennial couple dating. And we talked a little bit with another one of our guests about the bridge between older people and younger people and how millennials have and the generations under them have a different way of looking at things than perhaps the way his generation looked at things, not mine. His generation looked at things. So we want to talk a little bit today about what it is like to be a millennial couple that are dating, and not just being millennials dating, but millennials dating with values. You have values, you have standards, you have accomplishments. This isn't some guy walking around with his pants hanging down to the floor with 15 children. No, literally, it's not. Right. And you are not just, you have one child, but you are not, this girl just hanging out looking for somebody, right, to take care of her. You are educated, you have a good job, and you have some things you've already accomplished, and you have goals. So you're established. You have a home, you're doing well. He's established. He has a home, he has businesses.
Thank you.
And you're doing well. So what is this like? Because you're not walking into something looking for somebody to do it for you because you've been doing it. You're not walking into something looking for somebody to do it for you because you've been doing it. Right. So first, I'm going to start with Jasmin because she's my cousin, and ask, what was it like in the journey to finding someone or running into someone? The Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." But for the female, just the knowing and I know you had this list because you're my cousin. You had this list. So how was it to, as you look at Tay and then say and compare him to the list that you already had, what is that like?
Wow. I think that when I first met him, I really was my expectations were that he just was not going to be it. I think it was, like, a lot of people don't know, like, he is in, like, the entertainment industry. So for me, that was a big turnoff. It was like, I know people be in your face. That is not what I'm looking for. Like, really? I just had already made all these assumptions about him, that he wasn't ready to settle down, that he was, like, caught up in the nightlife and all of that. So I think that when we very first started dating, it really was a lot of me trying to find reasons of why I was going to stop talking to him. Like, why, because successful women like myself, we do tend to be like, I don't need you, and be ready to run, ready to go at any moment, because it's just like, I don't have to be here and I don't want to get stuck somewhere that's not going to be beneficial for me. So it was difficult. We have been dating going on 2 years. So I'm going to be 100% honest. For me, consistent 2 years, I never did that before. Consistently. Like, we never broke up before. Never, like the regular, we don't do that. Like, it's nothing like that. So as I look at my list that I actually got rid of, actually right before I met him, if we just being honest, right before I met him. But as I do look at those things that are on there, he does like meet a lot of those things. But it was also some things that I was like, you know what, this is superficial. Like this is not, you know. So a lot of it, I don't even remember everything that was on it. It was so the list for those girlies that do the list. You know, God knew what I needed, and He gave me that in Tay. But it has been difficult, like because like you said, we both come with our own, so we both are not looking for a project. We not looking for like we don't need anyone that's going to be anything less than what we're used to, or make it more difficult for us to continue to do what we've been doing. So finding a partner in him has been one of the best things about our relationship.
Oh wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And you?
Well, I think for me, when we first met, like I had kind of just shaken up a lot of things in my life, as far as like career path, business, just total 360. So like I was totally focused on just like doing work, businesses. Like I bought a rental property, bought my mama house, and so like I was just like, okay, I'm not really looking to date anybody, no serious relationship. So it was like. Then one day she came into one of my gigs and we met, and it was just like ever since then everything else was different. It was just like she became an instant priority. So I just think it was easy for me because she challenged me in ways as far as women never have, or just like gave me substance to like really respect and be like, no, this isn't just gonna be somebody that you can just have at a place and just when it's convenient for you, you do what you want to do. I actually seen a partner in her early, so I just feel like the time that has been something that I needed, and it's been great ever since. I can't complain at all.
That's so beautiful. It is. It really
Except
is.
for
I
when he
know.
complained and all this playing.
Of course, nobody's perfect. But
Exactly.
I don't think I
I'm just
necessarily had a list, but I just think that things that I thought that were important to me, I realized it wasn't just off what me and her established.
That's the part. That's the part that I really wanted you guys to highlight, because you don't know what you need until you find what you need. You think you know, and all the thinking that you have all, and literally, I would tell people all the time, he's looking for you, and because you don't know what you need, he keeps walking past you because you don't recognize him, and until you say, "Okay, Lord, what do you really want for me to have?" Then you see him.
And it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because we both live in the same zip code, go to a lot of the same stores, go to a lot of the same place, and we've never like bumped into each other prior to when we met. So I always think that is just so fun. Go to the same gas stations. I mean, it's insane how much we really do have in common, and just have never seen each other.
Because timing is so perfect. Timing, God's timing is perfect. So a lot of times, it's about when God thinks you're ready for it. Yeah. And a lot of times we think we're ready, and we're not ready. So all the stuff that you were doing before this was practice. Weren't ready for it.
I mean, honestly, like I was literally gearing towards like not even having a partner. Like literally just solely just building me, and just, So that's why I said it was super like genuine, because I completely was not looking. At all.
And he said, like, when we first started dating, me, I'm straight to the point. I asked him, once I started realizing that I liked him, I was asking him, if he saw himself getting married, like what his future looked like. And he definitely told me, he was very clear. He said, yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to get married. I feel like since I haven't had kids up until this point, I don't, think that'll happen for me, and I'm okay with it. And I just was like, for me, that's a red flag, because marriage is definitely for me. I'm trying to.
Yeah, we know.
For my husband, trying to have more children in the most polite way possible. But that's definitely what I was looking for. So at first I was like, wow, like maybe this isn't for me. But then like as we started to grow, and as he started to find, like you said, like what he was looking for in me, those things changed. So.
Yeah, that's why I tell people all the time, never say what you won't do or what you don't, I'm not doing that. Because when you run into the right person, all of that goes out the window.
Yeah.
All of it.
I can attest to that.
Never
Yeah.
say never. It's easy for people to sit on the sideline and criticize and say, I wouldn't take that girl, or man, you crazy. But they have nothing to lose. They have nothing invested in that.
Yeah.
So it's easy for them to say that. But everybody takes something.
Yeah.
If you don't, you'll be by yourself.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you don't have any children.
No.
I think you're on an island by yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Very exclusive.
Absolutely. And so in that, walking into a relationship, we've talked with married couples already, who have blended families.
Yeah.
But most of the time, not all of the time, a couple of the times, the guys didn't have children. In your case, you all are young enough to actually be able to do that still. So, but definitely you are not like a whole lot of the guys. So for you going into a relationship where there is a child, because Jasmin has a son, how difficult was that for you?
I don't want to say it was difficult, but I think that I just wanted to kind of see her and how things were. Like, how was she, with him and, his dad or whatever. Just like, what was they like routine? So basically, I think that, I don't want to say she did good at keeping it separate, but she did good at, kind of keeping it separate till we had that moment where it was like, okay, we kind of getting a little more serious, spend a lot more time together. So this is what you need to know. So I think that it wasn't hard for me because I knew how I felt about her. I just wanted it to be like something that I knew it wasn't like, oh, I'm overstepping or it's gonna be something that's weird. So basically, like, she gave me full control to just kind of like just genuinely establish a relationship with Aaron, her son. So
Yeah.
But I don't think it was hard for me. I think, ordinarily, of course, everybody would want it to be straight up and down, just, oh, we have no kids, but it's not always like that. So it wasn't a problem going in.
That's good. And for you? Look at it.
It was hard for me. It was just because, I am a very protective parent and very hands-on with my son and like very, I'm a licensed social worker. So like so many things come into play. Like I'm very aware of trauma. I'm very aware of the things that like happen like in blended families sometimes and how it doesn't always go that picture perfect, so I was very fearful of introducing somebody, especially we're not married yet. We haven't, we've talked about the commitment, but we haven't committed yet. But it's like at the exact same time, you can't wait till you get married to build a relationship. Exactly. So it's like I just constantly being like in that place where it's like, I don't want to force them on each other. Yeah. I want them to establish their own thing that they both want to be a part of. And it's like, at the same time, I want to be so controlling and hands-on. And, he took him for the Father's Walk this year. He took him, came and picked him up and took him. And my son loved it so much. And I was just like wanting to be there, wanting to be like all in the conversation and just like wanting to feel, so.
Were you texting like what's happening now?
Yeah, like
what's happening
afterwards, I'm like, tell me everything that y'all talked about. I need to know word for word. I want to feel like I was there, And it's like, because I've always been a part of everything, so trying to find like where I fit in as a co-parent is very, very different for me. Very, very different for me. I respect, like I will definitely say it was also difficult because I didn't know what that should look like. I don't know what a stepdad is. I don't know like how that should happen. I don't know like, just the way that that's supposed to go. So I kind of started making up in my mind what it should look like. So in the beginning, like he has given me money like for like his haircut or like things like that. But to me, it was like, well, how come he doesn't ask about him? How come this was early on, like, and just things that I had created in my mind of what he should be doing to let me know that he would be a good stepfather. But I had no, like none of that made any type of sense at all. But just me always constantly creating like these little like, is this a red flag? Should I be paying attention to this? How come he asked me how his day was? How come he, like, so just things like that, just that constant worrying. But I love the relationship. Like it is still hard sometimes though, because it's like, ain't no turning back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this, he's at such an impressionable age. A lot of people don't, he's only 10 years old. So it's like, we only got a few years before whatever you want to instill with him, like that time is over.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm happy that he's still very young so that they can build their relationship. But, you know, it's scary.
I'm sure. And you are
It's
you know,
Well,
so not controlling. I won't use that word.
Well, you brought up something that's real important for all couples. I mean, you're literally sharing your life decisions, everything you do. And so what it is you're becoming aware of what it's like to share and not have Aaron exclusively to yourself.
Right.
But you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
But even the allowing them to build a relationship organically is very important. And I tell couples all the time that are blending families, I think that couples shouldn't even get married until the children have established relationships with the opposite parent. And a lot of people have disagreed with me, but the family to me ends up not being completely blended. You know, when the word blends means to put all the way together. Yeah. So it shouldn't be, yours and mine. It's supposed to be ours. So even though Aaron has a biological father that is living and is around, in your house, it's going to be him. So that's still ours.
Yeah,
literally, it's still ours. You know what I'm saying? So you should be completely comfortable not worrying about, like Steve, if I'm gone and he comes home when they were younger, come home and I'm gone and the boys are gone. He knows they're with me at the grocery store. It's not about, well, what did you take them for or anything like that. In fact, it was the opposite. I'd be trying to leave them at home and they would be jumping in the car with me. No, we're going with you to the grocery. Why y'all want to go to the grocery store with me? You know what I mean? And so establishing it like that. And so to me, even though they had their mothers, they were still mine. So I didn't look at them like they're his. They were ours. Whatever we come in here with, if you had a puppy, it's going to be y'all's puppy. Yeah. If you had a house, it's going to be y'all's house. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, not that children are puppies in houses, but you understand what I'm saying? Right. I'm just saying. And so to allow that relationship to actually, organically build is really, really good. And to give them time to do that is necessary, and it's going to pay off later. Yeah. Because later on, when he starts forming his teenage manhood thing, you won't know what to do with that. Yeah. But he will.
Yeah, it definitely was really important to me that my son wanted him around and wanted to be with him for his own reasons. Yes. He definitely has moments where he's because like I said that he's 10 now, so it's I know my mom wants this or wants me so it's sometimes I have to constantly be if you want to, if this is but I don't know how it was at first. I would have to ask him. I'm not sure because he's also never really been around someone that I dated. I've always kept my dating life very, very private. Mm-hmm. So to the point where it took a while for me to even have them both in my house at the same time. It took a while for me to be comfortable, so we started out real slow. All right, let's all go out to eat together. Let's all go to Sky Zone together. Let's all, just outside the home so that it wasn't pressure, yes. Because I mean, realistically, our home is Aaron's home. Yes. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to be really strategic about bringing somebody else in. That's wise. And now he's can he stay at the house with me? Can he, you know what I'm saying? Can he, is he coming over if he hears him in the background? Oh, where is he at? Looking for him, wanting to play basketball with him, so it's, of course, I know, like you said, he's going to be, a teenager soon. And I know that we probably will have rough patches where, he's testing boundaries and all of that stuff. I just pray that we both just stay united with that, so that we can still support him and be there for him, but also parent him.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah, see, that's the biggest thing for me is just being consistent, not only with her, but him as well. And for him to see us doing those things, you know, that I think that'll just make it a little bit more easier.
And the fact that you said you all did not break up, and it's been a consistent 2 years without actually breaking. And I will say, you know, she didn't bring guys for us to just meet. So
Ever.
So like when we saw you, we were like, okay, this is serious. 'Cause she didn't just like randomly bring guys around for real.
Creme de la creme.
Keep it cute.
That's why I was confused at what list. It wasn't no list when I showed up.
Oh, it wasn't.
Stop it. Oh, it was a list.
Yeah.
It was. Height, check. You know, like I had to literally like everything.
Well, yeah, like I said, check.
He said he checked all the boxes. So I want to talk about what you do for a living. But I want to talk about his job first. So you have a couple of businesses going on, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about him. Established man, he said.
Oh, hey, listen here. Well, trying to stay established.
Well, you will.
Absolutely. But I do. I have a construction company that I have a business partner with, Solid Construction LLC, and I'm a DJ, primarily karaoke DJ, around a lot of lounges and clubs in the city of Cleveland. DJ Tay Nice, by the way.
Tay Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I also have a rental property right now, so that's another stream. But you know, it's not like I have 6-7 houses, so that's just another stream of income. But primarily construction and
Don't
DJing.
downplay your property owner.
Right.
I mean, oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
And for your age,
You and the landlord.
it's good. You're doing well. That's great.
Yep.
Absolutely. So that's good. So you're a DJ, and you've been doing that for how long? Well, and not only are you a DJ, you are a musician. So don't
Yeah.
don't play.
Okay. So yeah. So that's what I said. Like when me and her met, like I completely just changed a lot of things. So yes, before then I was a musician. I played lead guitar. So I had a band. We actually went out to New York for about a year in the beginning of 19. So we all know how that year kind of ended with COVID kind of taking president. New York, it really got hit hard.
Yeah, they did.
Like before
It did.
20. So that made that decision be like, okay, well, I can't do that no more. So, but the reason I decided to get out of that business was I just felt like here in Cleveland, like just the whole music and bands, it's super cutthroat. It's like it's just no camaraderie and just like cohesiveness to where they loyal to the band leader, and we doing gigs, and it's more of a brotherhood opposed to just business. So once it started feeling like it was just work, I just didn't want to be responsible for having to take care of a whole band by being the leader, and they wasn't taking care of me in that sense.
Right.
So I started doing karaoke, and that was something that all I had to do was just be me, promote it how I wanted, build the business up, and it's been super successful for me so far. So.
Okay. Well,
And he also does private events as well, birthday parties, weddings,
Bar mitzvahs.
funerals, whatever you need.
That's right.
Whatever
family
you need.
reunions.
Literally, oh yes, family reunions
Yes,
too. All of
yes.
the corporate events and private.
Yes.
And your Facebook page is?
Tavantae Trundle. Tavantae Trundle.
Yes, I spelled it incorrectly.
Yes.
He spelled it correctly.
okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. And so he is established. So that's why I said that. You are not the average person at your age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now. So I commend you for all of your accomplishments.
I appreciate it.
Don't stop. We won't let you stop.
Listen, I promise I will not.
All right. And then Jasmin, you are
I am a licensed social worker. Currently, I do work with children, adolescents aged 2 years old all the way up to 20. That is my main job. I also have a property that I plan on renting out in 6 months. So that's why I just love that he's already doing. I'll be asking him questions like about his property management company, things like that, because that is where, like I'm the route that I was on. So that's exciting. And then also I have a organization called Queens Raising Kings that is more so centered around, like focused on moms that are raising boys but it's turning into just like a parenting thing, period. Like, or moms, period. So that is great. I have events, yearly events, sometimes a couple times a year. Working on writing, being an author, working on that. Couple things here and there, but yes, that is. Long term, I am working on having a community center also, providing a lot of services in Cuyahoga County.
I see it.
Also, she's my part-time stylist when she, chooses to be.
Very much his part-time stylist. Pro bono. No money involved in that.
That's okay.
So with being the social worker, I know you see a lot. I know it's emotionally probably taxing to see it, and you have to actually kind of disconnect from all of that. We do that. I mean, it's like that for us too. It's like they kind of put it on you, and you have to find a way to get it off of you so that you don't carry it around. But just in how has that changed your perspective, even with parenting? Like, all of the things that you see, all of the houses that you have to go to, the schools that you have to go to. How has that changed the way that you see parenting Aaron or raising more children, because you do want more children, right? How many?
I would be okay with 2 more, but I would also be okay with 1 more. But I would like 2 more.
I think one would be fine.
But
Okay.
I told him I just don't want to get a minivan. So as long as
they fit in the car.
I'm okay. I just don't want a minivan.
Oh, a minivan
No
is
shade to
completely
those
out
of
the
you that have a minivan, but I would like to be able to.
I had a minivan. You remember my minivan?
Not at all, and I probably never rode in it.
You did. You did.
But
It was really cool.
It was cool. Had a TV in it.
See, minivan cool. It's not, I don't know.
It was cool at the time
It
for our
was.
situation.
But yeah, like I would be okay with 2 more, like a boy and a girl. I would like 1 more boy and a girl. I think I would be okay with that. But to answer your question, it definitely impacts my parenting. Honestly, so I'm still in school. I graduated with my master's in the spring. So even throughout my school career, just the things that I've been learning impacts my parenting 100%. But definitely more so now being in the field and seeing the things that I see, watching the parents talk to their kids a certain way and, just seeing what doesn't work. And, thankfully, my son has not experienced a lot of trauma in his life. Some, we all experience trauma of some sort, even things that we wouldn't even classify ourselves as trauma, right? We don't notice how traumatic it actually is to us and how it shapes the decisions that we make, the way we behave, all of
Talk
these
about
things,
it.
right?
Yep.
So it definitely does play a huge role in the way that I parent him. I find myself apologizing sometimes after saying things or doing things out of anger. I'm such a firm believer in apologizing to your kids, like humbling yourself so that they can know how to respect others, so that they can know how to apologize. So that's probably just one of the main things, like just always coming, like when I'm wrong, being able to come back.
That's so key. You just said you're a firm believer in doing it so that they know how to do it. And that's something that I think the older generation, back to the bridging the gap, that's one of the things that the older generation probably didn't look at it
For sure.
at it that way. They just look at it like, you're a child. Why should I apologize to a child? But they don't even understand that you are setting an example and helping them realize, because we have so many people that don't say I'm sorry even when they know they're wrong. It's like they can't form their lips to say, it's like, it's taboo to say I'm sorry, especially to a child. But it's like if you wound them in any kind of way, and I know, people that have like estranged relationships with their children, even adult children, they won't even go back and say it.
Yeah.
You won't even go back and say I'm sorry for the sake of repairing a broken relationship. You can't even say I'm sorry. So it starts right there. And I mean, that was just so key. That just jumped out at me because
I mean, it's all about communication. You know what I mean? Because it's like saying, like, taking accountability for your actions or the things that you say doesn't mean that they weren't wrong, that your kid wasn't wrong, that they don't need that correction. It's just being accountable for your own actions. Like some of the things that I say to my parents that I work with all the time is, when we want to see change behavior, sometimes you got to mirror that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so when you want to see them start being respectful, maybe you should start respecting them. Maybe you should start using more respectful words. If you want them to stop cussing, maybe you should stop cussing. You know what I mean? Or at least when you're talking to them, it's so many different things. Yeah. But I mean, period. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, like you got to start somewhere. Yeah. Like, okay, like, I'm not going to talk to them like that no more because I don't like when they talk to me like that. Or I want them to clean up their room. So, let me let me build, create the environment for this, create the environment for improvement. And a lot of parents don't want to hear that because it's like, you don't want it to be on you. You don't want to be the one. You just want people to come in and fix stuff. Right. And, no, it's them. But we forget what you be saying? The apple. I never seen don't that apple. Far. No, you be saying, I never seen that. What do you say?
I've never seen an apple fall out of a tree and roll.
So it's like close to the tree. Like it's right,
Yeah. Oh, I never heard that all the time.
So the apple don't fall too far from the tree.
Right. That's what they say.
Basically. But yeah, like I think that it just has helped me to really be more aware, especially of my experiences as a child and what did not work, and what did work and what, so just, it just helped me to be mindful that I'm responsible for this child until the age of accountability. And I just want to do my best so that he doesn't have to take a long time fixing the things that I did wrong to him.
That's so key.
That's very good.
It is. Because it's a lot. And,
that is one thing in this current generation. I'm talking about Black people now, specifically, that is a great change in the younger generation, is that we don't rule over our children with an iron fist like they did when I came up, and when Melanie came
up. but see, that's the thing though, like, because I think that like my uncles and my dad would tell me all the time, "Don't do what I do, do what I say." Mm-hmm. So I think it's just being accountable, because sometimes you can't always gentle parent. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes you don't always get that explanation of why your parents did what they did. Now, granted, if we take it into consideration and do that, then that's what we'll do. But I mean, if you're responsible for kids, you have to parent, and we set what we're going to do, not saying that we're going to just be super aggressive and mean and just there's going to be no lines of communication, but it's that it has to be some type of accountability within both sides of you're doing something wrong, and then if this isn't what you don't want to see happen, you need to do something different when we're telling you that. Absolutely. So just being accountable.
Yeah, but do as I say, not as I do thing, though, that was hypocrisy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All day long.
Literally was.
All day long.
Yeah.
Or the one that got me is because I said so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the worst answer in the world. If a child is asking, then they need to know. And if they're asking also, then does that mean you haven't taught them? So how can you have an expectation where you have not laid
a foundation,
right? You haven't taught them how to do it the right way, but you expect what you deem as right as an outcome, and it's just not that way. So you have to teach in order to have expectations. Then you also have to give them a room to grow. You can have many boundaries. And still communicate and still give them, enough room to explain, or best said, I would say, just because you're right doesn't mean you don't have to do what you do or say what you say the right way. There's a right way to do everything, and we should do what we do in the spirit of love, and that way they'll learn. Instead of us walking away like we did some, we big and bad, we the boss.
So you're saying you can discipline without being mean?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah. You can be very disciplined without being mean.
Because I remember, I don't know if I shared this on the show before, but I remember when the boys were young and they did something that I told them not to do. and I was getting ready to get them. And and rightfully so. I'm saying they deserved a punishment.
Right.
Because they did something flat out that they were not supposed to do.
Right.
And I was getting ready to get them. And I clearly heard the voice of the Lord say, and this was years ago, when I, wasn't always certain of the voice of the Lord. But that time, I knew that it was him. And the Lord said, don't do it. Give them grace. And I said, well, they deserve to get in trouble. And he said to me, do you get in trouble every time you deserve it? No, I give you grace. He said, give them grace and tell them that it was because of me. So God was doing two things at one time. He was teaching them and he was teaching me that every time they do something, it doesn't deserve a punishment.
Right.
Explanation, yeah, because they need to know there are consequences to behavior. Absolutely.
Right.
But we know it,
Right.
and we mess up every day.
Yeah.
All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And God has the ability and the authority to take us out when, ask Ananias and Sapphira. He could take us out whenever he wants to, but he doesn't. And so if you just think back through the course of one day, how much stuff did I do today that God really could have just got me for? But his grace abound. And he gave me an opportunity to repent and say, God, I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the way he wants us to do with the children. He wants us to teach them, tell them what's right, but give them grace to be able to realize what's right. You know what I mean? Because if the opportunities aren't there, they won't come to you. Because I remember not doing well in, I think it was algebra, in the very beginning of algebra. We weren't allowed to get C's, only A's and B's. And we, 90-something% of the time, that's what we did. But it was simplifying polynomials. It was like German to me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good in math. What is this?
That must have really scarred you to remember exactly what
Yeah,
you was studying.
yeah. I mean, really, no. Well, it was the fact that something got me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm good at this stuff, and I'm looking. I'm like, what is this, right?
What's
So,
harder is the consequences.
well, and not just the consequences. It was the way.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, this is not like shade on my parents. It was just old school versus now, And so we knew we couldn't bring bad grades home. So I, sat down and I'm looking at stuff. I can't figure it out. Parents didn't know how to help me. So they like, well, what do you mean? I think I got less. And I said, well, can you do it? About to get in trouble, right? Can you do it? You can't help me with this because it's German to you too. So he ended up getting me a tutor. I had the tutor for 2 weeks. It was a CSU math student. He helped me. And I was like, oh, I don't need him no more. I got it. Whatever the concept was, I got it. But the thing is, there should be enough grace in your atmosphere for the kid to be able to come to you and say,
With the truth.
I don't get this.
Yeah.
Not hiding the fact
Right.
that I didn't get it because I was afraid that I was going to get in trouble for not being. And this is what I told my mom at the time. I said, well, Mommy, you can't be perfect. Nobody is perfect in everything.
Yeah.
Everybody has an area where they fall short. This is what I said, ducking while I'm saying it, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm like, I can be excellent and not be perfect, right? So we can establish a spirit of excellence in our household, a spirit of excellence within our relationships and with our children, remembering the whole time that none of us are perfect, so we're gonna mess up. And so that was the thing, and that's what I want everybody to get. That's the bridge right here. It's like over there, you better not mess up, and over here, oh, mess up as much as you want. But we're
you
trying to
have to
get
find the
this
middle ground.
this
Right.
middle ground where it's
Yeah.
like,
You want to teach them to be respectful without them being fearful.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like Melanie said, you don't want to go to the extreme where, we've all seen, I'll say the movies. Again, talking about the black culture, we see the movies where the kid is, oh, mom, kiss my.
Not the movies, the grocery store.
And shutting the door and slamming the door and all of that.
Yeah.
That's going too far. At the same time, it's also too far that, strip down naked, I'm going to do this to you. Yeah. That's a slavery mentality.
Yeah.
Isn't that abuse?
Yes, it is.
From a licensed social worker?
Mm-hmm.
That's considered abuse. I told my mother, I said, ooh, if you was back in the day, if y'all was doing what y'all did back in the day, now all of y'all will be in jail.
Yeah.
So there has to be, and I promise you all, you won't ever agree completely on what to do with them. You know, especially now, you gotta, your future wife is a social worker. So you're going to have a social worker in the house.
Oh, no, she already gives me that all the time. I could be telling her about issues that I got going on with business and it's like she's completely like trying to give me, I'm like, babe, I don't want to hear their side. This is business.
I just try to be compassionate, and I like to look at things from different perspectives.
Yes.
I don't always want him to think that like people intentionally are, I just like to give him different perspectives.
Okay.
But I definitely do know that, but I do recognize though, hold on, because I do recognize that, because I'm like that. In that moment, sometimes it's not the time
just need
for
an
it.
ear.
Yeah, he just want to vent, and he just want me to be like, "You absolutely right." That, so I'm getting better at it. But I'm like that with everybody. I'll be like, "Well, maybe they, like." I just don't want you to always think like that's what their intention was, because sometimes people really just don't know that they're, But
oftentimes you are correct.
oftentimes, most times, maybe, But definitely I do already see it. Like even when it comes to him, he's very stern, and even though I can be stern and strict with my son,
She's not. By the least bit, she's
I
not.
give in a lot. I do give in a lot because he's really a good boy. He's such a good boy. And it's like, when he was a lot younger, I had to spank him a lot. And I don't now. Like it's more like when we build up to that moment. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a all the time thing. Like, and he's very charming.
Very
and he
much
knows,
so.
and he knows he's very intelligent, and he just knows, that's my baby. I only got one,
So with that, you have to take into consideration that he is very charming. He knows he's very charming, and that he will use that, and he will use that mom against dad, like
What's that M word?
Manipulate.
There you go.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, but all
absolutely.
children are like. I'm happy that you brought that up, because my parents that I work with, they always say, "Oh, but don't listen. He's a manipulator." Yes, that is a skill to manipulate people. It's not always a negative thing. Yes, they have learned how to get what they want, and we just get upset because it works. It works, whether they're at school or whether they're whoever they're manipulating, it's working, and they've gotten good at it. But, you just have to be cognizant of that and know when to come in and know how to redirect things and help to guide them so that they are telling the truth and they are, but again, that falls back on mirroring. You know what I mean? Like if you know what's happening is the manipulation, then it's like, they're doing that for attention. It's like, okay, well, let me look at why. What is going on? Why do you feel like you need to do that? It could be out of fear, because I ain't trying to get in trouble. Nobody wants to get in trouble. So it's like just trying to dig through that and not get so caught up on the manipulation, but why this is happening. And how do I, not necessarily pay so much attention to that, you know what I mean? But what's behind it, the deeper meaning of it, what
Absolutely.
That
You're
social
right.
worker.
You
that,
need
right.
to.
Yeah.
You definitely need to look
root.
at that, and you need to remember you want to break the bad habit, but you don't want to break the person.
Yeah.
And so, but if a child, the better they manipulate, the more intelligence they are displaying. And
Yes,
so if
they
a
are.
child is that intelligent, then you sit them down and you hold them accountable. You let them know I see you. So this is not going to work, or
Yeah.
I might have done this, but I see you trying to manipulate me instead of just being honest with me and telling me what you want, or working for what you want, or whatever the case may be. So now there's a consequence for that.
But also, if a person is doing that, like Jasmin said, right, we need to find out what the root of that is. Because sometimes they're doing that because they need attention.
Yeah,
And they feel ignored, or they feel, something drastic has changed. Or like, it wouldn't be strange for Aaron to display some different behaviors once y'all get married. It wouldn't be strange for him to display some different behaviors once you get pregnant. Because, I mean, if he's still
it's expanding his
a preteen, right? It's like,
Yeah,
you just shook my world. You're shaking.
And
even
I don't
though,
even know how to verbalize
right?
it. I don't even know.
I don't know
So I'm just doing
exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
But those things will be expected. Like, it just be like simple things. Like, we constantly have to tell you the same things over and over and over again. So it's just like,
Yeah.
But
So
that's
you
just,
have to be able
he's
to.
a kid.
Well,
yeah, but I mean,
No, so I would say, what y'all displaying is two sides of the spectrum. So you have to learn.
what you're displaying is
how-
he said, she said.
Yeah, and so the thing is that you have to be able to discern when manipulation is taking place, and not just say, oh, but he's a kid. By all means, you should hold him responsible for who he is individually. Once he knows or has been taught something, again, it's conversation. It's you let him know, hey, girl, I see what you're doing, and why are you doing this?
Exactly. And it is the why,
It's the why.
and it definitely takes, consistency as well. I'm going to be 100% honest, I have those nights where I'm just extremely
Yeah, I get
tired, and maybe you are staying up past your bedtime, and then I wake up and it's like 11 and you sleep on the couch, and I'm like, we don't, like whatever. And then other nights I'm up and what you doing up this late? Like it definitely, but I can take accountability for that. I know that that's me being inconsistent with the things that I've said sometimes. And yeah, will he manipulate that situation? Absolutely, because he want to keep watching TV.
Human nature.
I'll get on him about it. Like, now you're not supposed to be, but I'm still the parent. And that's like the thing. I think that a lot of times as parents, because we see them start to function on their own or start to do things more independently, we try to put it all on them.
Right.
But you're still only 10
That's
years
right.
old.
That's
so
right.
it's still the responsibility of the parent.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Now, in some situations, I'll notice, just what Tay was bringing up, I don't know what specific example he was thinking of, but I know I constantly have to tell him, you're constantly reminding these things. Aaron has difficulty with focus right now. So for him, I'm learning, you know what? Instead of frustrating myself because it's like I told you and I want him to remember something I told him 45 minutes ago, but he playing the game and he doing this and people calling him and all of this. Sometimes I just need to text him a list of the things that I've asked him to do to help him to stay focused. It's just a typical child. Like, all of our children are different, and we often be like, well, this is how you should be. This is what you need to be, or even this is how I am. So why you not grasping this concept?
Right.
But it's not the case.
That's right.
It's just about finding out, okay, how can I help you so that you can
That's right.
remember what I've asked
Right.
you to do? How
That's
can I
right.
help you so that you got the routine down?
I'm
How can
so
I what do
glad
I
you
need to
said that.
change?
Because oftentimes adults don't think that they need to adjust. We have a multitude of lazy teachers who refuse to adjust to the child because they've been doing it this way for 15
Especially
years.
if you
and
have
all of
several
that.
children.
Yes.
And you expect, well, my first one wasn't like this, so why is this one suddenly? Because each one is an individual.
That's right.
And it's constantly learning. Just like as you're growing with them, like, you have to constantly learn what, it takes. Like, at one point in time, I did, like I said, have to spank Aaron all the time. I could always tell when it's been a long time since he's been spanked because he would act differently. Now I am spending a little more time having a conversation with him. You're still going to get in trouble, but Like, I ask him, do you know why I'm angry? Do you know why? So that it's not just, me yelling at me being mad. Connect the dots. This is what's happening.
Right.
So that we can, stop it from happening again. I don't want you to keep on getting in trouble. I love doing fun things. I don't, I've always felt like when my son on punishment, I'm on punishment because I like doing things with him. So it's just like about recognizing that as the parent, like you said, like as a parent, sometimes it is us, and we just hate that, like we hate to really. Again, it's back to being humble.
That effort.
It's back to being humble. That having that humility, like you're responsible for this person, and then they become a teenager, and then I don't know why they're like that. I don't know, why. Like people always say that all the time. They never used to be like that, but the thing, it was there. It's just it wasn't redirected, or there wasn't, so
or they're acting like you, and you don't like that part of you, but you never recognize that was how you were.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing it coming out in your child, and it's like.
And instead of addressing it, it's like hands off. I can't do nothing. But we taking our hands off too soon because they just kids. Even when you 15, 14, you still just a kid.
Yeah, still
and
a
it's
kid.
like, but I can't tell them nothing. But you should have started a long time.
Right.
No, so.
That's part of the growing process.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, and we were talking about blended families, and so let's talk about something because what you said is definitely typical of the mother and the son. But let's talk about the mother and the son in the later stage. Like, Tay, you said earlier when you taught one of the adjustments or one of the things that was important to you and what you did, you basically, I heard your heart when you mentioned your mama. So I want to know, how do you feel about Tay's relationship with his mom, or has it been easy for you to see that and adjust to that, or?
Woo, I wasn't expecting you to ask me.
I wasn't either.
Okay.
Yeah, we can be diving in. Maybe.
Right, aren't we?
Right.
I can't tell if this is marriage counseling or radio. I don't know. I actually love his relationship that he has with his mother. He is very, he really, what is the word?
Attentive.
Yes, he's so attentive to her. I love the way that he thinks about her. If we're getting food, he calls us, to get food for her, and just, I love that. I honestly do love that. I will be honest and say that there are some times where I feel like he takes on a responsibility that may not necessarily be his, but I know that it's because he truly does love. He's such a family man, he sometimes has this really hard exterior, especially when he's working, and he's so soft on the inside, and it's just, I love that, and I really appreciate the way that his mom has raised him, because he's very gentle with me because of it. Even when he wants to be mad at me, sometimes he can't, because he just is just so gentle,
Well, already.
but yeah, I do love it, and we've had conversations, about some of the things that make me a little bit uncomfortable, I'm very big on, expressing the things that concern me. I'm getting a lot better at, communicating with him, and he receives it well. We discuss it, but I love the way that she raised him.
And I never met her, but I can tell by the way you treat her, because that's one thing that I tell the young women all the time. Don't get mad if you get, I call him a mama's boy, because that's what I used to call Steve all the time, because he took care of his mother. And as a result, that's the way he is with me too. He's a gentle person. So I think it's a beautiful quality, and a lot of men probably don't want people to know, on live and stuff, that they're very gentle, but you are that. I can see it. And it definitely, whatever she put in you and that you give back to her, you give it to her.
Yeah, and I completely love it, because her and my mom, they have the most naturalist, genuine relationship, and it wasn't never forced. or I never was like, you know, babe, I want you to, you know, do this with my mom, or it's just like, you know, it's just kind of clicked. So, and then in my past, like my mother never, like it wasn't many that I introduced to my mom, but like anybody that I ever was dating, like my mother was always against it. So
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, you always think like they just be like this with anybody, like, you know, like I don't know, you know.
Nah, listen, moms wasn't going for it. I like if I did, you know, because my dad would be like more like out and coming to a lot of my gigs, so he wouldn't mind going to the bars and stuff like that. So if I did introduce some people, it would be like, all right, Pop's here, and it was just like they happened that way. But like my mother, nah, she never was like.
She's very sweet. She's very sweet. She's very thoughtful too. Like she just, like I don't know. Like I said, I really do. I like their relationship a lot. Yeah. Like I'm happy that, you know, that they do for each other.
Yeah, she
definitely spoils him.
Well,
yeah, but see, that's why I can kind of understand how she is.
I was
Aaron.
going to tell you that,
but it's like when I was younger and I was a kid, like my dad wasn't always there in the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? He did things to provide, you know, when he did. But it was like I wouldn't always be able to like literally see that or just, you know, see him there to like redirect me and give me this type of, you know what I'm saying, tutelage that I need. So that's why I can see why she's used to just doing everything. Yeah. So you don't want to just always be the stern and mean parent in a sense. So you always, the love and the caring is going to overshadow that. So that's why I say, yeah, that's important, but it still can't take away consequences.
That's why y'all gonna bring balance. That's why it should be two, you know, parents, because
that's what God intended.
It's very difficult to play both roles, right? Because it's like like as a mom, you know, that mom guilt comes all the time because it's like, yes, I have to guide you, I have to keep you safe because in a minute you're gonna be on your own. So I want to instill these values in you, and I want to make sure you're okay. But in the very same breath, if I don't love on you right now, you won't get it.
Right.
So it's like I come here. Like, you know, some nights I'm like, do you want to just sleep in the bed with me? Do you want to just, because in a minute it's over with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially as he, you know, starts to get older and drifts away and has his own interests and becomes a teenager. So it's like, I gotta continue to nurture you. Yeah, like so it's like, let me make sure that we have these moments. But yeah, I'm torn. I'm literally on the fence, like, okay, so in this moment, yes, he's having a tantrum and I wanna correct him because I need to correct this behavior. This is not right. But at the very same time, you are upset and you need to express what you're feeling. Yes. And I need to console you. Yes. In the very same. So it's like, time. Or how much time do I spend doing this? Yes. And then switching to holding you. Yeah. Come here, let me give you a hug, and then I'll talk about it. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot.
Let me say this on the ending note. It's important for each of us to show both sides.
Yeah.
So that they know that it's coming from a genuine place. They know you love me, but I can't take advantage of you. But they know you got consequences for me, but you love me.
Yeah.
And
that's the reason that you're giving me the consequences.
Right.
Not because I'm angry, but because I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get time, listen to a song called If I Was Your Girlfriend by Prince. And that will...
okay.
Steve advocating for that song. We got
all the time. Y'all, but the other thing is coming together is going to bring balance.
For sure.
And, you know, and as long as you respect the other person's opinion, you'll get the balance in there.
We got 1 minute, 60 seconds.
So we're coming to an end. We just want to remind you that we have I've written 2 books. We have written a marriage book called Hearts of Fire. It is available on Amazon under our names and under the title. It's on Amazon. And I've co-written a book with my sister-in-law, Pamela Smith, and it's called I Am Superwoman, also available on Amazon. So jump on there and get it. And I just want to thank the 2 of you. We want to thank the 2 of you. This has been so good. Time always goes by really quickly.
Yeah.
And when we start having these good conversations, but it's so good to be able to have conversations and let you all share what he said and what she said on these different matters. Absolutely. So Thank you again, Jasmin Thomas. Thank you again, Tavantae Trundle, who has businesses, and you can hit him up on Facebook. And once again, we just want to say thank you and goodbye.